Greetings to you viewers from across the globe. You're welcome to the show Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm your host, Odiawa AI for Veegil Media. You do well to follow us across various social media platforms and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel Veegil Media and download the app on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. On the show today, we will be talking about the battlefronts in Rivers State. But before we go there, a quick rundown on the top headlines making the political scenes. First off, we'll be talking about veteran broadcaster Aisha Bello. Aisha Bello, who spent 35 years at NTA, the Nigerian Television Authority, until her retirement in 2022, reportedly died yesterday on Monday. Her demise as we speak is a big blow to the broadcasting industry, and her legacy in journalism will continue to live on. During her time as a presenter of the flagship of the NTA network, News at 9, Nigerians and viewers across the globe all over look forward to seeing her as she delivered news that can be trusted objectively. Now, she mentored many young ones who actually took to broadcasting mainly by watching and listening to her eloquence, passion, and integrity on the screen, in the newsroom, and off the TV screen. Her legacy in broadcasting journalism will actually continue to live on with the rich news archives which she has left behind and the contribution she made to the development of broadcasting in Nigeria. May she continue to also rest in peace. Now, moving on to other news. Now, Rivers State call Wike to order. He's just one of 48 ministers. Now, this is Clark to Tinubu, who has actually decided to say something concerning the Rivers State crisis. Now, elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark has again urged the President of the Federal Republic, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to call the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, to order. He said this in an open letter to the President on Monday. The leader of the PANDEF group, which is actually Pan-Niger Delta Forum, which is just one of the 48 ministers in the President's cabinet, and he should be called to face his job of the FCT minister and not insist on controlling the political structure in his home state in Rivers State. Now, frankly speaking, this is actually true, because if all former governors will insist on controlling their successors, there will actually be chaos all over the 36 states. I believe you should share similar thoughts with me. Now, the PANDEF leader was reacting to a fresh political crisis in the oil-rich region of the South-South state, Rivers State, the Garden City, as 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly on Monday defected from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to the APC, the All Progressives Congress. Now, on my own part, I begin to wonder why the FCT minister is keeping structures and for what purpose. Might we recall that Wike had attacked the concept of godfatherism as totally unacceptable, and this was made known to him, or to us rather, I beg your pardon, when he had a fallout with his predecessor, Rotimi Amechi. Now, so what purpose are the structures supposed to serve when there is a governor in place? Now, I just tabled that question out there for people to begin to wine and dine about. Now, moving on to other headlines making the rounds. Why Rivers Assembly members defected from the APC? Or defected to the APC rather, I beg your pardon, from the PDP. Now, this is according to a particular lawmaker, a member of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Enemi Alabo. He has actually given insights into the recent defection of the PDP member or lawmakers to the All Progressives Congress. He spoke during an interview on a televised broadcast, citing internal divisions within the PDP as a primary root cause or reason for the election. He pointed out to ongoing legal disputes relating to party secretaryship and expressed frustrations over his inability to establish communication with the party's secretariat. Now, internal crisis, we can see, is the paramount issue here. Now, he went further to emphasize the lack of clarity regarding the party's leadership, underscoring the challenges confronting the Rivers State PDP members, including the burning of the assembly chambers and the intimidations. If we recall, the Rivers State House of Assembly, a particular wing was gutted by fire 2 months back. Now, in response to these challenges, Nemi Alabo explained that the lawmakers collectively decided to defect, citing Section 109 of the Constitution, 1999 to be specific, which allows for a party to switch in the presence of a perceived division, which is constitutionally in line with their moves anyway. We anticipate that the hope is renewed by citing this constitution now we speak now. Moving on to other headlines making the rounds now. Away from Rivers State's crisis now, Tinubu has actually arrived in Maiduguri for the Chief of Army Staff's conference. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State, for the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference, which is a yearly occurrence anyway. The president is also expected to launch 100 buses, including 50 electric vehicles procured by the Borno State government to cushion the effects of removal of fuel subsidy on citizens. Now, I would say it's a thoughtful move by Borno government, I must say, at least to alleviate the current woes all over the country. Tinubu was received by Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, former Governor Ali Modu Sherif, Minister of Defense Abubakar Badaru, Senator Ali Ndume, amongst other important dignitaries. Tinubu will do this shortly after paying homage to the Shehu of Borno, Alhaji Abubakar Ibn Umar Gabai. Now to financial matters as regards the government, FG to return 27.5 trillion naira 2024 appropriation bill to the National Assembly for increase. Now the federal government has told the Senate that it was considering returning to the National Assembly the 27.5 trillion naira 2024 appropriation bill in order to increase the size of the revenue increase. Now, speaking yesterday in the nation's capital, Abuja, when he appeared before Senator Sani Musa, APC lawmaker representing Niger State East Side, he led the Committee on Finance for Budget Defense, the Minister of Finance, and coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, said that because of the tremendous improvement in the economy, I want to believe that there has been, or did he mean to say, downfall of the economy, let me put it that way. Now, not to deviate. Now, if the revenue increased, the federal government would have no other option than to return to the National Assembly to appropriate the additional revenue. Now, if we recall, the president had actually tabled the on Wednesday last week, presented the National Assembly an expenditure proposal of 27.5 trillion naira for the Appropriation Bill of 2024, just as he announced the administration's resolve to adopt the revised 2024 to 2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, the MTEF, and Fiscal Strategy Paper, which is the FSP, as the parameters for the 2024 budget, just as he also announced the administration's plan to grow the economy by a minimum of 3.76%, which is above the first forecasted world average, which is not quite welcoming. Now, interestingly, amusingly, amidst the whole tensions and eyebrows raised over the figure for the 2024 budget, it still has to undergo an increment, as we have heard now by Wale Edu. We wait to see the outcome as the episodes continue to unfold. Now, in other headlines making the rounds in the political space, lastly, PDP members are making a move to reconcile and planning to return Labour Party candidate Peter Obi. Now, the PDP have begun reconciliation of members indicating interest to bring back Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi in this year's general elections, 2023, which just concluded. It appears the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, a man language, was lost, but now is found. That is, if he will now agree to return to the PDP. Now, the main opposition party yesterday on Monday stated that for it not to go into oblivion and win the 2027 polls, a Northerner cannot be the presidential candidate of the party, the PDP, in 2027. Pure and simple. Now, this is political ethnicity coming into play. Now, fielding in questions from journalists who actually stated this, Bode George, a stalwart of the PDP, insisted that the Labour Party does not have the structure to win national elections. Hence, Peter Obi should reconsider returning to the party. Now, in his own words, Bode George, he actually said the Labour Party does not have the roots. I have traversed every state of the nation. There is nowhere you will not know or hear about our party. Now, the party in question is the PDP because it carries the full color of Nigeria. The Labour Party was actually a movement. They do not have a solid roots. Labour Party came out of anger and it doesn't have the kind of roots we have. That is the PDP. Now, Labour Party is a wind. Where was Peter Obi? We can still talk to him if we want to. Now, he has said that he has nothing against the Northerners, but he now actually saying, I think we should pick and choose our words when we want to make statements, because they might come back hunting us, because his statements are connoting or dictating ethnicity in politics. Now, until 2031, nobody should actually think of contesting for the presidential ticket of our party from the North. Now, he's further indicting himself with that statement, if we will look at it. In the long run, let's see how fruitful this move by the PDP will actually become by not choosing a Northerner to become the helmsman of the nation, and also making a move to win back Peter Obi. Now, moving on to the next phase of the show, right here on our Viewpoint, we'll be talking about the battlefronts in Rivers State. Earlier on, we talked about Edwin Clark's involvement, an elder statesman, and of course, the political gladiators in the arena who are also caught on struggle in Rivers State, the oil-rich region, from its governor to former governor who is now the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and by at large Tinubu's involvement. Now, apparently, Ondo State and some states in northern Nigeria seem not to be the only ones undergoing some ruckus in the political scene. Rivers State is having its fair share of the crisis enmeshed in the states. Now, the disagreement between Rivers State's governor, Seminary Fubara, and his predecessor, political godfather, and now minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, it appears not to be winding down anytime soon, despite the peace brokered by the chief executive, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, if we recall, Rivers State was plunged into a political crisis, particularly between the 29th and 30th of October. This year, actually, to be precise, when the hallowed chamber, the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly, was actually burnt. It followed alleged moves to impeach the governor, Fubara, that consequently led to the emergence of two factions, who is loyal to Nyesom Wike, and Edison Ehe, a strong supporter of the incumbent governor, Fubara. Fubara returned to the state after the peace meeting in Abuja with the president and apologized for the anxiety sequel to the crisis, assuring that he was ready to embrace the path of lasting peace to present this advantageous state such that they will advance progress and develop the state. Though he appeared remorseful, while Wike also insisted that there is no bad blood between them, but his words have left many suspicious. No bad blood is enough to raise enough eyebrows and drop some people's jaws in awe. Recently, at a book launch in Port Harcourt, Wike said, "Let nobody deceive you. If I say there will be problem, there will be problem." And I believe that statement should be self-indicting. Now, he went further to say he doesn't need to win when you want to make peace. Open your door so that when you make peace, it will follow you. Now, this is contradicting earlier on what he had actually said, considering the amiable cause which had already been embarked on in Abuja earlier on. Now, it was in the same vein that Mr. President had also intervened to broker lasting peace between these two gladiators who have refused to sheath their swords. But evidently, the mediation only postponed the evil days, as there is still factional leadership in the assembly allegedly carrying on in the legislative business with alleged threats to life and assassination attempts on Ehe, who is actually the actual #1 man of the State House of Assembly. Now, accordingly, the factional lawmakers have continued to have separate sittings in different locations, which ought not to be, and it's quite unconstitutional. It's, however, glaring that governance is languishing and, development is at its ridiculously slow pace, which ought not to be, without much to show for progress. The governor is actually struggling to push forth his administrative plans. For instance, after his visit to the Songhai farm, which was intended to revamp the farm and boost food production, create employment opportunities for the teeming youth, which is increasing every day, and tame insecurity, nothing as we speak has been heard about the whole bold step which he made. Now, before the crisis erupted, sources close to the government's house said Wike, who had handpicked Fubara, was against revamping of the farm. Now, it now clearly states that this farm now is actually the issue, but why should the farm now be causing this sort of issue? Now, let's go further now. Now, This farm now was started earlier on by ex-governor Rotimi Amechi, who is the predecessor of Nyesom Wike. If we recall some years ago, Nyesom Wike actually had a rift with his predecessor Rotimi Amechi. Now, it was also learned that some of the issues around the crisis include Wike's alleged influence on Fubara's programs and policies that could impact positively on the people. Now, if it's to impact positively on the people, why should Wike be going against it? Yet, stateside, there is high apprehension over growing insecurity. Investors are anxious about attendant job losses. Disharmony in the State House of Assembly now, it's really prevalent to carry out legislative businesses and oversight functions, amongst others. Now, this has also opened new visits of uncertainties, as we will see the decamping of some House of Reps members. Now, the current crisis is negatively affecting governance in the states. And where there is crisis, there will be a problem in running smooth government in that state. Failure of a harmonized House of Assembly to sit, discuss, and carry out oversight functions is a grave negative impact on democracy. Because, frankly speaking, political gladiators in the oil-rich region of the South-South should actually draw their swords and put the interests of the state at heart and drive development, all to the betterment of all. An elder statesman and former spokesman of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Anabs Sarah Igbe. Now, Anabs Sarah Igbe said the speaker, backed by the governor, is the authentic speaker, recalling that a court had granted an injunction stopping Amahuele from carrying out legislative activities. Sarah Igbe, in any case, urged Wike to allow Fubara to discharge his responsibilities as governor, adding that, in his words, and I quote, "Nobody gave him problems when he was governor." If we will recall, now, comically speaking, now, anytime Wike was out there, it was always an amusement or fanfare. Now, I tend to concur with that remark, with what this elder statesman has actually said. Now, in conclusion, in any case, all eyes are on Rivers State to see how it will pull through with only 8 lawmakers out of 32 lawmakers backing the governor, because these 32 lawmakers have actually decamped to the APC. I'm Odiawa AI for Veegil Media, and the show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. You do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Veegil Media, and follow us across various social media platforms. Don't forget to download the app, the Veegil app on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Thanks for watching.